Question answer hour. Every Sunday a different devotee tries to answer the questions that are coming in online, and also there's some devotees sitting here. This month is very special. This is the month of Shravan. Next festival coming up is, although we don't celebrate it on our calendar, the Vaishnav calendar, but it's a very big festival here in Vrindavan. It's called Hariyali Tej, and that's on the third day after Amavasya coming up. Today is Ekadasi, then will come Amavasya, the dark moon, and then starts the Gorda Paksha. So many festivals will be during this time. So Hariyali Tej, because we've gotten some rain now for this past month, everything is starting to turn green. So their lordships in the temple are decorated with beautiful greenery. You have a beautiful darshan on that day. Hariyali means green. So, and Tej is for the third day of the Gorda Paksha. And then after that, coming up on Ekadasi up to Purnima is the Julan Yatra of Radha and Krishna. And we have such a beautiful Julan Yatra at that time in the temple. All arrangements are made in the courtyard so that small Radha Shyam Sundar come out, the Vijay Utsava. We have huge decorations, very beautiful swing. Lalita and Vishaka join them. And anyone who comes to the temple has the opportunity to take part in this Julan Yatra by swinging the deities. And then on the Purnima, the last day of this month of Shravan, is the appearance day of Sri Ram, Lord Ram, Balaram. So Balaram being worshipped here with Krishna in our temple, we have a festival. There's fasting, there's feasting, there's kirtan, there's special kathas. So everyone is welcome to take part in this joyous month of Shravan. The heat is abating, the rains have come, everyone is in a joyous mood. We have lakhs and lakhs of devotees every day for darshan. Every day is a festival here in Vrindavan. So if you have any opportunity, anytime you come, you're most welcome, and you can take part in the programs here in Vrindavan. So there are a few devotees here. Perhaps you have some questions. We can proceed with the question and answer period. Rajavidya, come forward, take the mic.
I think it's again a question from a class which I had. And I speak out of the most merciful place is Jagannatha. But then what I have heard is the most merciful place is Maya. So what is your opinion?
So far as mercy is concerned, anywhere where the Lord performs his transcendental pastimes, it's dripping in mercy, because wherever you step, the Lord was there, he performed different lila. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he chose to live in Jagannath Puri in a mood of separation from the Lord, to show us the topmost platform of Prema Bhakti. So if you study the lila that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited in Jagannath Puri, then you can see how he was so absorbed in that mood of Srimati Radharani. He didn't manifest that in his Navadvip and Mayapur lila. That was his early lila, his Adi lila. So there was Sakya Ras then, there was Vatsalya Ras, Dasya Ras. He had his married life terminated. But the Parakya Ras, the mood of Srimati Radharani, feelings of separation from the Lord only exhibited in his Antya Lila. So for the last 6 years of his life, I think it was 18 years, but it was 24 years in Navadvip, and then 6 years traveling So that means 18 years he spent in Jagannath Puri exhibiting the topmost platform of pure love. So Krishnadas Kaviraj, through the diaries of Swarup Damodar, and because Raghunath Das Goswami had memorized all of those diaries, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he was able to write in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Antya Leela, which was not dealt with in the writings of Vrindavan Das Thakur and other previous biographers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why Chaitanya Charitamrita is called the postgraduate study, because it is only in that book that is revealed those most intimate pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his deep mood of separation from Sri Krishna. When Jagannath would see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would see Radharani. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would see Jagannath, he would see Sri Krishna. And all of the devotees engaged in so much intimate, confidential pastimes with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this mood of Madhurya Ras in separation and Parakya Ras, it's only exhibited there in Jagannath Puri. And so far as the most merciful is concerned, Srila Prabhupada, he says that Jagannath is most merciful. He's the Kali Yuga incarnation of Sri Krishna, because he even accepts the worship of mlechas and yavanas. And we see that practically because Rath Yatra now is being performed in hundreds of towns, cities, villages, homes all over the world. So Jagannath Ji, we heard yesterday in class, Vasu Ghosh Prabhu was saying that there's a chart of vegetarians in India. And the last one on the chart is Orissa. Only 1% of the population is vegetarian, and everyone else there is meat eaters. But still, Jagannath has chosen to accept the service of the Oriyabasis. And he explained that even the pujaris, they go home Mahaprasadam and mix it with their fish. So how merciful is the Supreme Lord that he tolerates such behavior from his own servants. So Jagannath Ji is considered to be most merciful, and that was why when Srila Prabhupada came to America, the first deity that he installed there was Lord Jagannath, because he has come to deliver the mlechas and yavanas in this age of Kali. So on two accounts, both Jagannath Ji himself and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's most intimate leelas are there in Jagannath Puri. Okay, thank you. Krishna. Take the mic. Oh. Can we share this? Huh. Are Rasik Sampradaya, Radha Ballabh and Haridasi authentic? Oh, are. He's asking it in English. Are Rasik Sampradaya, Radha Ballabh and Haridasi authentic? I like their literatures, even His Holiness Radha Govinda Swami, Guru Maharaj, and Amarendra Prabhu quotes from it. So will it be an offense or cheating to Srila Prabhupada if I study or quote something from their literatures? Well, you haven't given the name. This is from Gaurav Raj Kumar. You haven't given the name of those literatures, so it would be impossible for me to answer the question. If you want to write in what those literatures are. But because we're coming from the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya are coming from the disciples and the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we would have to see whether the conclusions are the same as what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught us. And specifically, that is the Vipralamba Bhav. Because in other sampradayas, they don't accept that there's any separation from Radha and Krishna. They worship Radha and Krishna as being eternally together. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instead, Krishna also showed in his own pastimes that higher than Sambhog with the Supreme Lord is Viyog or Vipralamba Bhav. So we would have to hear what those shastras are. I don't remember at any time that Radha Govinda Maharaj has deviated in any way from Srila Prabhupada and the Gaudiya Vaishnava teachings. So if he hasn't deviated, then why would you want to deviate? We have volumes and volumes of literatures written by the 6 Goswamis, Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami. In your whole lifetime, you wouldn't be able to read all of those or understand all of those shastras. So if you have accepted Diksha in a particular sampradaya, then you should be chaste to that sampradaya and study the shastras that are given by your previous acharyas. There's no reason to search elsewhere. Once you've given your life to your guru, then you study his teachings. The teaching is his Param Guru, Param Guru, all the way back to the 6 Goswamis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and before so many great acharyas in our sampradaya. What is the question of looking elsewhere? We have so much. So if you want to give more information about which particular shastras you're speaking about, then for instance, even the 6 Goswamis, they quote Harivansh. So Harivansh is also from the Radha Ballabh Sampradaya. There's no harm, but the shastras that we've been given by Srila Prabhupada and by the previous acharyas are the main shastras that we should be studying to understand the concept of Vipralamba Bhava in Bhakti Yoga. It's better if I read it. Yes. Yes. Hare Krishna Mataji, sometimes I feel sleep. How do we overcome the effects of the modes of nature on us? Yes. This is what the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is about. How to overcome the modes of nature. And the way to overcome the modes of nature is to take shelter of Sri Krishna. So if you're sleeping or if you feel sleepy while you're chanting, first of all, you have to look at your sadhana. It might mean that you're not getting enough sleep. Because if you're getting enough sleep, you won't feel sleepy. You'll feel very energetic when you're chanting. So I don't know what your age is, but in general, Prabhupada recommends that we get 6 hours of sleep. And medically also, 6 hours of sleep is required so long as we have these gross material bodies and we're not on the Paramahansa level. And we should rise early. We should bathe before we go to the temple. Then after bathing, we should go and worship the Lord in the temple in the association of other devotees. And all of these activities will wake up our spiritual consciousness so that when it's time for us to chant japa during Brahma Muhurta hour, we'll be very much enlivened instead of sleepy. So early to bed, early to rise. That means you should take rest early. If you can take rest before 10 o'clock so that you can rise by 4 o'clock, that would be the best thing. And then take your bath, attend Mangalarti, chant your japa very enthusiastically, and then attend the Guru Puja and the Srimad Bhagavatam class. This sadhana is meant for developing our enthusiasm in Krishna consciousness. And if we're following the sadhana properly, just like if we're sick and we're taking the medicine and the diet properly, then we won't feel sleepy when we're chanting our japa. No, we'll be enthusiastic to hear the holy name and to hear the inspirations that Krishna is giving us in service. Because when we're chanting the holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we're praying for service. And Krishna will direct us what type of service he wants to do each day while we're chanting. And this should be a very enlivening time when we're on a direct personal relationship with Sri Krishna through his holy name. He's dancing on our tongue with Srimati Radharani. All the pastimes will naturally be manifest to us as if we're chanting with full concentration. So rather than miss this opportunity by falling into the mode of ignorance, we should follow the sadhana very carefully, full 6 hours at one time, and then our chanting will become very enthusiastic and we'll feel Krishna's presence in his holy name. May I read the next question, please? Okay. This is from Prince Kumar Singh. I was reading in Prabhupada Purport, and he writes that after some gap, after death, Jiva gets a new body. But we have also heard that sinful Jivas suffer in hell for many years. So how to understand? When at the time of death, first of all, if we're wearing japa mala, the kanti mala, Yamaraj's assistants, the Yamadutas, will not approach you. And therefore, at the time of Diksha, we're given two malas. We're given the kanti mala by the and we're given the japa mala, on which to chant the mantra that we've been received, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So if you're following the four regulative principles and you're chanting Hare Krishna, you don't have to worry about going to a hellish condition. Now, if by misfortune you haven't taken shelter of the holy name and you're not wearing neck beads and you don't have association with the devotees or the Supreme Lord, then according to your sinful activities, you will be brought to the courtyard of Yamaraj. And the list of your sinful activities will be read. And just as a judge will give you your sentence, you might be sent to some hellish regions. Now, this is all done in the subtle body. It's not with a gross body. Just like when you dream at night, the experiences you have in your dream are all with your subtle body. Your gross body is lying on the bed. And in your subtle body, you're eating, you're playing, a tiger is coming to attack you and you're fearful. You can even feel pain in your subtle body, in your dream, but it's not with the gross body. So these hellish planets and these hellish conditions, you're experiencing with your subtle body. And if you were extremely sinful, and in your next life, you're going to have to become an animal or a very sinful type of body, you are trained in those hellish planets for accepting that type of gross body. For instance, there are many, many different descriptions of the different hellish planets in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you were very, very sinful, you're forced to eat in the Vaitarani river all types of pus and blood and stool and urine and flesh. And this is preparing you to become worms in stool. And if you were gluttonous and you couldn't control your tongue, then you're prepared and you're trained to take the body of a pig. So in that way, your next lifetime, you've already been trained to, the consciousness is already there when you enter into that body to enjoy in that particular way. But devotees don't have to worry about this, because one has taken prasadam, if one has chanted the holy name without offense, then the next life is guaranteed human birth. And there's a 9-month, 10-month gap of unconsciousness when that human body is being developed within the womb. Then in the 7th month of development of the embryo, consciousness enters into the embryo, and the embryo remembering that, oh, I couldn't complete my Krishna consciousness, my previous lifetime. This next lifetime, I promise you, my dear Lord, I will only engage in your service. But then at the time of birth, when the human being comes out and the lalan palan of the mother, father, or all the relatives, they forget in childhood. When they come in contact again with the, then they remember. And that's why when we join Krishna consciousness, in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, we're so enthusiastic, we're so happy, we're jumping in the air, we're dancing and chanting, we love prasadam. It doesn't matter what service they ask us to do, because we're carrying on from our previous, whatever service we were able, whatever percentage we can complete in our previous life. So therefore, we're very happy in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, but then when it comes to making progress, let's say we completed 20% time. So then when we take up Krishna consciousness again, we're right at that 20% place. But then when we have to go to 21, 22, 25, then we have to endeavor. Then when the temple commander asks us, can you do this, Prabhu? Oh, well, I'd rather be chanting and dancing and cleaning the temple. No, then when we're given a challenge to advance in our Krishna consciousness, then it becomes more and more difficult. So that's why we're very happy in the beginning when we join ISKCON, and then it becomes more and more difficult because we're making advancement then. And that advancement means a lot of endeavor and a lot of patience, a lot of enthusiasm, only associating with the devotees. So anyone, you're asking this question, how do we, what happens in the hellish planets? That's with your subtle body. They don't have to worry about going to the hellish planets. They're guaranteed a human birth. And then they pick up wherever they left off in their previous birth. And then they have to endeavor to make advancement. And hopefully in that one lifetime, they can complete 100%. And then they get their spiritual body in their next lifetime. This is another question from Prince Kumar. His other question is that there is Petri Lok for forefathers. So how they get new body if they reside in Petri Lok? It doesn't matter. Yes, there's a Petri Lok, and you're allowed to go there and you're allowed to drink somaras for a particular amount of time, so long as your family members are offering you the pinda. But this has nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, absolutely nothing. If you're interested in finding out about Petri Lok, then you can read other shastras. We're interested in Krishna Lok. We want to know how to go to Petri Lok. So I'm not going to answer this question because I don't even know or care about the answer. Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, yes, if you want to go to Petri Lok, then I'll give you the process to go there. But devotees don't want to go to Petri Lok. They're not interested in drinking somarasa. They're not interested in associating with their forefathers. They're interested in going to Krishna's family. As Srila Prabhupada was explaining, here in the material world, we're very attached to our mundane family, which is in connection with this material body. But when we give up these connections and these attachments, then we can enter into Krishna's family in the spiritual world, our relationship with Krishna. So how to go to Petri Lok, it makes absolutely no difference to the devotees. We want to hear how to go to Krishna Lok. And that Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. And then later, he gives so many examples through Sukadeva Goswami's instructions, all the different types of devotees who were able to attain perfection. So you should concentrate on reading these two shastras and concentrate on how to go to Krishna Lok. Next question from Alicia Israni. Mataji, I heard that morning program was introduced in 1971 as devotees started falling down. Those who can't go to temple is doing arti at home important, or reading and chanting in morning is enough. I don't know where this person heard this, but from the very beginning we had morning programs. So I don't know where this 1971 came from. We always had morning programs. It might have begun a little later. Prabhupada couldn't always initiate the 4 o'clock Mangal Artik because the neighbors would complain. We would start at 6 o'clock, but there was always a morning program. And the first thing we learned was the Guru Vastakam. We were singing Samsara Dava. So Prabhupada always had a morning program for the devotees. So there are 3 different categories of devotees that we learned about. First class is when you live in the temple and you're doing devotional service in the temple. Second class is when you live outside of the temple, but you come to the temple to do service. And third class is when you live outside of the temple and you make your home into a temple and you do all your service within your home. So we're aspiring for first class devotional service. That means we're doing service here in the temple. And if we're not able to live directly in the temple, then we live nearby the temple so that we can come every day for service. And that includes the morning program. Of course, all the devotees who live required to attend the morning program. That was Prabhupada's rule. You don't attend the morning programs, then you starve. No prasadam. And those who live outside, who have some independence, they should also try to do as much service as possible in the temple, including coming for Mangal Artik every day. When Prabhupada first started this temple, the ladies weren't allowed to live in the temple. Prabhupada made arrangements for us to live outside of the temple. But we had to come for Mangal Artik every day. Everyone had to come for Mangal Artik. And Prabhupada would look out of his window and he would see who was late. And if we would even come 1 or 2 minutes late, Prabhupada would call and ask, why were you late? So that's second class, to live outside and come to the temple. Third class is when you're so far away from the temple that you make your own home into a temple and service there. So that's the correct process in Krishna consciousness. This is from Jitendra Gosai. Human population in world is increasing day by day. More and more souls are getting human body. What should we interpret from this? Does it matter? I've gone to some countries where you hardly even see a human being. It's all trees. Have very few human beings. Bharatvarsh has many, many human beings because this is a place where Dharma is strongest, right? But in other countries, there are very few human beings. There are more animals and trees than there are human beings. You go to the desert, there are no human beings at all. It's all ferocious animals who are eating one another and very difficult life. So it depends where you are that the human population is increasing. Yes, human population will increase in India because it's the place of Dharma. And therefore, those who want to make advancement in spiritual life, in Dharmic life, they take birth in India. And those who are sinful human beings, they might take birth in places where they have no opportunity to hear Krishna's name whatsoever. I remember when Srila Prabhupada was trying to enter the USSR, which was a communist country at that time, in the early 70s. He explained then, because it was communist and it was against the law to worship God in USSR. And he said that anyone who takes birth in Russia, it means that they never wanted to hear about God. They intentionally took birth there because they didn't want to hear about God. It's a punishment to take birth in other countries because you never get our own births in America. We never heard about Krishna and Rama. It was a different Dharma entirely. That was our great misfortune. It wasn't until Srila Prabhupada came to America that we heard the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. But here in India, where the population, by 2030 they say, India will be the most populated country in the whole world. Well, that's because many living entities, they got the opportunity to hear about Krishna and Ram here in India. So it depends where you are on the planet that the population is increasing. Other places the population is decreasing. But India, those who want to know about Dharma, then they take birth here in India. So yes, population will increase for those who want to hear about Krishna. So I think that that's all the questions that have come. All right, these are questions they're asking in Hindi. Mataji, in Bhakti Marg, हम साधक अपने रास्ते पर चलते हुए कभी गलत रास्ते पर चलते हैं, आज क्यों होते हैं ये जानते हुए भी कि ये रास्ता गलती ही पर उसका आशा माया का प्रभाव इतना अधिक होता है, साधक असमनी पता माताजी, उसे माया अच्छी इकती है।
हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा। माताजी, भक्ति मार्ग में साधक अपने रास्ते पर चलते हुए कभी गलत रास्ते पर चलता है, तो ऐसा क्यों होता है? ये जानते हुए भी ये रास्ता गलत है। ये जानते हुए भी कि ये रास्ता गलत है। अगर रिपीट, माताजी, भक्ति मार्ग में साधक अपने रास्ते पर चलते हुए कभी गलत रास्ते पर चलता है।
मेरे कान में बताइए।
पूछ रहे हैं माता जी, चलते हुए कभी गलत रास्ते पर चलता है, ऐसा क्यों होता है? ये जानते हुए कि ये रास्ता गलत है और उसका ऐसा माया के प्रभाव इतना अधिक होता है कि साधक समझ नहीं पाता है कि माता जी उसे माया अच्छी लगती है।
अच्छा। He's asking that even as a sadhak, when we're on the path of bhakti, we take the wrong path and we commit some mistake. So how is it, if we know that this is the wrong path, why do we take that path? Is it that Maya is so strong that she can divert us from the path of bhakti? So this is the same question that Arjuna asked to Krishna in the very beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. He says that, how is it if we know that something is wrong and we do it anyway? And Krishna explains that it is lust only. And this lust is our greatest enemy. Now, what is the definition of lust? There are two things. There's lust, which is calm, and there's prem, which is love. Lust for our own sense gratification. And prem means when we do things to satisfy Krishna. So because for millions and millions of lifetimes, we've been taking birth again and again, forgetful of Krishna, simply acting for our own sense gratification, when we come to this human form of life, we're conditioned to only act for our own sense gratification. Our eating, sleeping, mating, defending is just for our own pleasure. But when we come in association with and we learn about Krishna consciousness, then our consciousness changes to pleasing Krishna instead of pleasing ourselves. Now this takes training. And this training comes, it's called practical devotional service. When we're practicing, that's why deity worship is so important. The Archa Vigraha, the pure devotee, prays to the Lord that you please come into this form so that the devotees can worship you. And the Supreme Lord, he accepts the worship through the Guru to himself. We don't directly worship the Supreme Lord. It's through the Guru that our worship is accepted. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada has established temples with deities so that we can practice pleasing Krishna by waking him up in the morning, singing to him, bathing him, dressing him, feeding him, putting him to rest, waking him up again. These are all of Krishna's daily activities in the spiritual world that we are practicing in deity worship. It's called practical devotional service. We're preparing ourselves to meeting Krishna face to face when we engage in devotional service. And this is why deity worship is so important for the Kanishta Adhikari, for the neophyte devotee. Because then they get to practice meeting Krishna and serving him. And when their practice becomes perfect, then they enter into a spontaneous platform. In the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, we're not accustomed to waking up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and taking a cold bath. No, because that's not our sense gratification. We're doing that for Krishna. So we have to force ourselves to do sadhana bhakti. But after doing this for many, many years, it could be many, many lifetimes, we develop a taste for this, that I want to take a bath, I want to go see Krishna, I want to sing for him, I want to feed him, I want to do all these things for him. And then it becomes a spontaneous, loving relationship with Krishna. And that's how the development occurs through deity worship. And that's why all Krishna conscious communities are centered around deity worship. Prabhupada explained that if he was just to sit under a tree and chant Hari, how many people would come? But by opening beautiful temples with attractive deity worship, millions and millions of people come for darshan of the deity. And they want to do service to the deity because this is the preparation ground for meeting Krishna directly. And when our devotional service becomes perfected, the deity speaks to us directly, and all of the service that we're doing here gets transferred to the service that we'll be doing in the spiritual world. So now we're engaged in this sadhana bhakti. That means we're practicing our devotional service. And this is how we overcome the influence of Kam, or Maya. Because Krishna says if one takes shelter of him, then he can overcome the three modes of material nature. And in the beginning stage, the way to overcome is to engage in deity worship. And when one becomes more advanced, then they can go to the Madhyamadikari level of seeing the Supreme Lord, who he worships and loves, the devotees who he takes association with, the innocent people who they want to teach Krishna consciousness to, and the atheists who they want to avoid. So that's the Madhyamadikari stage, and that's the preacher stage. They're not so concerned with the deity worship anymore because they know, and now they want to teach other people about Krishna. And on that level, you're much more fixed in your knowledge and your faith in Krishna. And Maya can't attack you so much because you have the knowledge how to overcome not only for yourself, but you're strong enough that you can help other people become Krishna conscious. And then on the topmost platform, that's the Paramahansa stage, the Uttama Adhikari platform, you see Krishna everywhere, you see everyone as a devotee of Krishna, there's no chance of Maya attacking you anymore. So this is a progressive stage. We're right now on the lowest stage. We have to direct our senses to serving the deities. We have to become compassionate to help other people become Krishna conscious. And hopefully, within this lifetime, we'll be able to perfect our consciousness of Krishna and see that Krishna is standing right in front of us within the temple. Next question. Come and speak it to me. Okay. All right. This is from Sachinandan Das. How should we chant? And how can we keep our minds steady in chanting? These are the instructions that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us in the Sikshastakam. And that's why in these 8 slokas, Mahaprabhu himself teaches us how to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. First, we have to understand the glories of the chanting of Hare Krishna. And that's in the first 2 slokas. That this can burn away all of the impurities that have been accumulated over lifetimes. And this chanting is so powerful that there are no hard and fast rules for chanting. You can chant in any situation. And then finally, in sloka number 3, Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So this is how we should chant. This sloka around our necks. It doesn't mean that we tattoo it around our neck. It means that we remember it at all times while we're chanting. Trinadapi Sunichena, we should become more humble than a blade of grass. If you step on the grass, it goes down, and even if you trample that grass, it'll come back up again. If you cut a tree, you can cut it, you can tear the fruits off, you can tear the leaves off, you can cut the tree down, it'll never object. So Trinadapi Sunichena, just like the grass is humble, Taror Iva Sahishnuna, as tolerant as a tree, that's how we should be chanting. Amanina Manadena, we should be ready to offer respects to others and never expect any respect for ourselves. It's the most difficult thing to sit on a Vyasasana and speak. We don't want to have this respect. But they say, no, because then the devotees can see you, so therefore we agree to sit on an asana. But devotees don't want respect for themselves. Devotees want to give all respect to others. And then these 3 things, humility, tolerance, and offering respect to others, then kirtaniya sadahari, then we can always chant the holy name. So this third sloka is an answer to the question, how should we chant? And how can we keep our mind steady in chanting? We keep our mind steady with the next slokas of the Sikshastakam, that we understand Ayitanuja Kinkaram, that we understand that we're the servant of Krishna. We've fallen down into this material birth. Please pick me up and place me as one of the atoms of your lotus feet. And then finally, we come to the stage that whatever you do to me, Krishna, you're my Lord eternally. You can embrace me, you can kick me away, but you will always be my prananath. So if you really want to understand how to chant and where our consciousness should be, you should study every day the Sikshastakam by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is from Juhi Kapoor, so you can read it in Hindi to me. Okay. How can I believe that the Gita is the words of Lord Krishna? What is proof of it? The Bhagavad Gita is one chapter in the Mahabharata. Mahabharata is the great history of Bharatvarsha. The Mahabharata was written specifically Sudras, the Stri, and the Dvijabandhu, because the Vedas and the Upanishads and the Puranas, they are for the classes who have accepted Diksha, who are Brahminical by nature, and they can understand the slokas in Sanskrit. Those who are not able to understand the Shrutis and the Smritis, Vedavyas very mercifully, he wrote the story form. There are many, many stories that can attract our attention, because in Kali Yuga, everyone likes to hear stories, correct? We all like to hear stories, so this Mahabharata is all full of stories, moral stories, spiritual stories, and he introduces Sri Krishna in the Mahabharata. And the essence of the Mahabharata is contained within this one chapter that Krishna speaks to Arjuna on the battlefield during this great war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas. Now, some people don't even understand that this is a genuine history. One can go to Kurukshetra and see the place where this battle took place, where Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. Everything is still existing. All the places mentioned in the Mahabharata, they're all here in Bharatvarsha. So Krishna, not only is he the Supreme Lord, but when he came here, he was a historical personality who lived here in Mathura and Vrindavan. All of his places of pastimes are still here. Then he went to live in Dwarka. Dwarka is still there. He came to Hastinapur. Hastinapur is still there. All of these places you can see with your own eyes if you don't have enough faith to believe that Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. And when Krishna introduces himself in the Bhagavad Gita as Bhoktaram Yagyatapas Maheshwaram, well, he is the Supreme Lord speaking to his friend, and he explains, why am I speaking to Arjuna? Arjuna wasn't a Brahmin. He wasn't a great scholar. He was a Kshatriya. And he was a warrior. Krishna says, I'm telling you this secret of devotion because you are my devotee and you're my friend. So you won't understand Bhagavad Gita at all unless you engage in devotional service and become a friend of Krishna, just like Arjuna was. Everything will be completely covered. And Krishna explains to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that I cover myself with my Yogamaya potency so that 4 classes of men cannot understand me. the mudhas. The mudhas are the karmis who are simply working to get results for their work. They don't care about anything higher than their own sense gratification. The naradamas, the lowest of mankind who engage in all types of sinful activities. The mayaya aprakritas, those whose knowledge has been stolen by atheistic philosophies. And the downright atheists, the Gnostics, who completely reject that there's any higher force, that life is just meant for fulfilling our lusty desires. There's nothing more than this life, and there's no other purpose in life. These four classes of people will never understand the Supreme Lord and will never accept the Bhagavad Gita. But then Krishna explains that there's another four classes of people. Those who are distressed, those who are in need of money, those who are inquisitive, and those who are in knowledge. They can approach the Supreme Lord and begin to understand Him and begin to understand the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So if you're asking a question like this, you have to decide which category are you in? Are you in the category that will never understand Krishna? Or are you in the category that is trying to approach Krishna? And then you'll be able to understand the Bhagavad Gita. The second question, what are the differences between people meditating and non-meditating? Everyone is meditating on something because the mind is engaged in two activities, hankering and lamenting. We're always thinking of something that we want, and whatever we have, if we lose it, we're always lamenting for something that we've lost. These are the two activities of the mind that does meditation. So what your meditation is, that is up to what your goal is in life. If your goal is to get as much sense gratification as possible, then you're meditating how to get that sense gratification. Four major types of sense gratification: eating, sleeping, sex life, and defending. So 99.9% of the population, they're meditating on those four things. How can I eat well? How can I have a nice place to sleep, a nice apartment, a nice palatial house? How can I have topmost sense enjoyment in the form of sex life? And how can I defend myself so that I can protect myself and all of my sense gratification and my family, which is a part of my sense gratification? So you can meditate like that, or you can meditate on pleasing Krishna, engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. You can meditate like Ambarish Maharaj meditated, who is the perfection who engaged in all those 9 activities of devotional service for Krishna. So you choose what you're going to meditate on, but the mind is always going to meditate on something, either your own sense gratification or Krishna's sense gratification. That's all? Okay, it's exactly 12 o'clock.